Candle's not lit. Happy New Year!
2023.
Hi. Well, 2023, Larry.
What did I say?
22. It's
Well,
okay.
maybe it's 1984.
He's in the last century, probably.
I was born in the last
Thank you
century.
for being here as we begin this celebration that will continue all year. Right now, though, I want to say happy anniversary to a couple that got married 22 years ago today in this very room. Diane and Jim, happy anniversary. And she wore her white dress. Congratulations. And tomorrow is Tim Sullivan's birthday. Let's say happy
Wow.
birthday, Tim. Stand up.
Yay!
Yeah. And Sherry Lease, who took the day off, it has her birthday today. So, she said, can I take the day off? It's my birthday. And I thought, well, of course. But Tim can't, because his is tomorrow. Anyway, I'm just glad that you're here today. The Center for Spiritual Living is all about celebrating life and recognizing that power and presence within and acknowledging people. And right now, I just want to thank everybody that helped with our pre-New Year's Eve party. We could not have done it without all the help that we have. And so I can see some of the people right here, David Flay and Tracy Flay that did a lot of food.
Yeah.
Marcia Walton, who came early and helped cut up cheese and make things and put bowls out. Larry, who was our disc jockey, and also shopped like 3 days with me to get food. As we were leaving, we saw Tim Lilly in the kitchen, and with a few other people cleaning the chocolate fountain. I have to say, the reason we haven't had the chocolate fountain in a few years is because I always had to clean it. So thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody who helped buy tickets. And we had this year the most unusual experience. People came forward to me and said, I would like to pay for somebody else. I would like to pay for somebody else. I would like to pay for somebody else. I have never had so many people say, I want people to enjoy this party, and I want to pay for them to come.
Yay.
So I want to acknowledge the givingness of this spiritual community. Let's just give them a hand. Yay. You know who you are. We teach it, what you give out, you get back. And I know that this year is going to be filled with a lot of good things for everybody. Yes.
What do we teach?
We teach that what you give out, you get back.
Wow, I'm going to give a lot.
If you want to give a
More.
lot of love, guess what you're going to get back?
Money.
Love.
Oh,
Tenfold, pressed down and running over. We really believe that. And I've seen it demonstrated. But anyway, Friday night was a magical evening. And so thank you
It
for
was.
everybody. And we had so much food there. We have some dishes that we're going to put out after the celebration so you can go in. And we lost 6 bottles of champagne that we were going to toast with. Well, we found them.
oh.
So we're toasting today. Come in and get a bite to eat, and we're going to have little champagne glasses, and we're going to pour a little bit of a toast for everybody. Sorry, people here Friday night, you didn't get the toast.
What?
Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
There's only 5 bottles. When we couldn't find them, we blamed somebody must have come in and stolen them during the party.
yeah.
But no, we just looked in the wrong
By the way,
refrigerator.
for those of you who are at home and watching on the broadcast or on streaming, there's a benefit to being here.
Yeah, you get champagne and food. Also, Marcia brought some bean soup because when you start the new year out with beans, it's good luck. And Larry brought some vegetable soup because he
had a
made
lot of
so much of
vegetables.
it doesn't fit in our refrigerator. So he brought it over. So we have a
All
couple
right.
soups out there. Okay, I think that's about all. Is Tom here? Yes. Tom, you want to do the announcements? Let's welcome. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We do them at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, Okay, this is an opening song right now. Yeah.
Yay!
Larry, would you go get Tim a new order of service?
We're flexible. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. And everybody around the world in that little green light right there. So, where to start? You know, I've done so many different kinds of music up here. I've done reggae and rock and folk and jazz and blues, but I've never done bluegrass. So we're going to touch on that a little bit today. And if you got your boots on, great. If you don't have your boots on, you take your shoes off. I'll just introduce the band right now. He's going to tune up real quick. So this cat right here on the stand-up bass, I met at a Christmas party a year ago, and I think we had spent lifetimes together because we just picked it up right where we left off. And just a great all-around guy. I love him. I love his wife. So on the stand-up bass, Dave Lawrence. And this cat on my right, people are like, where'd you start out in music? And I tell people, when I was 14, my sister had a guitar, but she never played it. So I took it in my room, and she never knew it was missing, and I kept it as long as I could. But I met his little brother, and when I go to his house, he was always playing the guitar. So great inspiration, great singer. And he's really a guitar player. He'll tell you he's not a banjo player, but he is today. And so my good friend of 50 years, Jerry Monty. Dance.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if you were going to do that.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
You gonna sing with me?
Yes.
Okay. 2, 3. My grandpa, he's 95 and he keeps on dancing, he's still alive. My grandma, she's 92 and she loves to dance and sing some too. Well, I don't know, but I've been told if you keep on dancing, you'll never grow old. Come on, darling, put a pretty dress on, we're gonna go out tonight. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Well, I'm a hard-working man, I'm a son of a gun. I've been working all week in the noonday sun. The wood's in the kitchen and the cows in the barn. I'm all cleaned up and my chores are all done. Take my hand, come along, let's go out and have some fun. Come on, darling, put a pretty dress on, we're gonna go out tonight. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Be gone. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Come on, darling, don't look that way. You know when you smile, I've got to say, my honey pot and lover, may your heart's alive. Don't you wanna go out tonight? You're such a pretty lady, you're such a sweet girl. When you dance, it brightens up my world. Come on, darling, put a pretty dress on, we're gonna go out tonight. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Big on. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, there's the order of service. It changed. We have a thought for the day and then you play.
Let's go.
You guys are really good. Was that fun? I felt like I was like in Valley Park in a bar. I love it. Thank you for being here. Wow. I love starting out the new year doing things differently. So there's one other person I want to acknowledge today, which is Michelle Conley Brown, because she came early and she helped put together everything also. Thank you, Michelle. And we have a thought for the day, and I'm the thought for the day reader. And it's by Neville Goddard, who has fabulous books. They're in the bookstore, which... They will be. What? They ran out? No, there's some. They're back on the back wall. The front wall. Anyway, he's one of my favorite authors. He's also on YouTube. I mean, he was speaking in the 50s or 60s, but he's no longer here with us in physical presence, but he is on YouTube. And here is the thought that he has. There is no one that is not all that is. For consciousness, though expressed in an infinite series of levels, is not divisional. There is no real separation or gap in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. That's pretty deep. You have to think about that. You can write that down or go back and watch this again. But what he's saying is that I am, that presence of wholeness is with you at all times. It can't be divided. It can't be in one person and not in the other. It's in everyone. We sometimes think it's not in everybody because some people kind of don't want to live up to the I am consciousness. And it might take them a while in this lifetime until they get that. But they will get it eventually. Might take them many lifetimes. But that's why the Center for Spiritual Living is here, to remind you that you can get it immediately. The fact that that power and presence, that I am consciousness, is your very life. And if you listen, that still, small voice will let you know exactly what to do next. God bless you, and Happy New Year. And now we have another song. All right. Tim and the Boys.
All right, if you guys come up with a name for the band, we're open to suggestion. You know, I was going to put this thing together, and I go, who am I going to get? So I was driving around, and I found these hillbillies broke down on the side of the road. Okay, this is more of a congregational song.
Is this it?
Yep.
Okay. You got the verses.
See if you get more in center to the mic, too.
Lost you.
2, 3, 4. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. 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 Let it shine.
Grayson thinks you should be called the Blue Bayou. Blue Bayou. Like Blue Bayou. By me. This month we are talking about the principles that Dr. Ernest Holmes set forth in The Science of Mind. And today we're going to retread all of them. So today Reverend Larry is beginning to let you know what God is. Let's give him a hand.
Well, based on that, I don't know, so I guess we're done.
You have a microphone on.
I do. Do I need two? No. Okay. Neville Goddard, speaking of Neville Goddard, he was a good lecturer through the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And in the 50s, he was a good friend of Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind, and he was a teacher at the Science of Mind Institute. So there was a lot of interesting people that came through the Institute in the 50s, 40s, and 50s, all of them preeminent speakers in all kinds of different traditions, including one who spoke, and they had to get a larger auditorium for him, which was Yogananda. And the auditorium was full, standing room only, 5,000 people. Yeah, that's quite a class, isn't it? So we're talking about who is God. Oftentimes the question is, what is God? But first we need to know who is God. And that's difficult for us. It's difficult for us because our limited mind has trouble with something that's infinite. We can't even understand infinite. All we know is it kind of goes everywhere. We don't know where it ends or where it begins, anything about it. Actually, in quantum physics, there's the principle of singularity, where there's a single point at which everything came from. They call it the Big Bang theory. But that singularity becomes, through quantum inflation, the entire universe. And it's interesting because that concept goes back to the Bible with "let there be light," the opening of the Old Testament. There are several different places in the Bible that I found where it talks about two things that are important to this concept. That is the I am, and the second thing is that this idea of light is really powerful. So the first place was in the statement in Exodus. It says, "I am hath sent me unto you." Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid and I read that, I went, huh? It's like, I am hath sent me unto you. That was Exodus 3:14. And then in Exodus 3:14 later, he says, I am that I am. He said, I am that I am. Is it he? Is it her? Is it something else? What is it? We've kind of taken this idea of God and shaped it in our own limited way. We've shaped it into this idea, starting with Catholicism, this idea that there is God up in the sky somewhere in one of the clouds that passes by from time to time, and he judges us based on whether we've been good or bad. He carries a bag over his shoulder, and he comes down the chimney. That idea actually is perpetuated through childhood stories that God and Santa Claus are very close together, because God is judging, and then Santa Claus is judging, and everything seems to be about judging us, which gets us all in trouble, doesn't it? So the idea of what God is, in order for our limited minds to understand it, we pull down through our own belief systems and collective consciousness a concept of God that we can deal with. And what happens is we fight all the time with this concept because there's some part of us that knows there's something else. That there's not only just a personal aspect of God, which I want to get into in a minute, not only the personal aspect, but there's a greater aspect to it, but we can't figure out this greater aspect. In the Eastern traditions, especially in the Hindu traditions, I am is a very classic statement throughout all of their texts. And that I am means awareness. Awareness. The I am that I am. That is awareness that's aware of itself. Now there's also a tough concept to get. Awareness that's aware of itself. But when they speak of it's always with you, God is always with you, it's the essence of our being. The essence of our being is awareness. Without awareness, nothing exists. At night when we go to sleep, we close our eyes, the world is gone. But we're still aware. In fact, we're aware in our dreams. Even in Delta sleep, we become or are aware, because we're never not aware. We're aware in that deep sleep. We just aren't familiar with what silence really is. And that's another point in the Bible. Let me see where it is here. Yeah. Be still and know that I am God, right? Read this way. Be still and know that I am. Now, if we take that, we can look at it and say, be is being. Be is being, still is consciousness without thought. Now, that's an important thing. Consciousness without thought is stillness, the silence, the place that we go to in meditation, the place that we go to in prayer. So that whole thing, that whole statement is unpacked in be is our sense of being, still is consciousness without thought, and to know, knowing, is a deeper understanding from intellectual concepts to a deeper understanding that in the silence there's a wisdom that comes through when we allow it. All great creativity comes from that same space. All the great music comes from that same space. It comes from that deep silence within us, which is connected to everything. That part of who we are, that essence of who we are, is no different from person to person to person from anything in the universe. Anything that starts from a singularity, does it not imply that everything that comes after that came from this and therefore must be a part of it? Rationally, we would say that's true. If consciousness is all there is, then everything that we are is consciousness. And everything that we perceive out here is based on consciousness. Consciousness knows. So, the idea of who is God needs to first become very personal for us. Well, it becomes very personal when we begin to talk to God. Because this is the interesting part. When you're talking to God, you're talking to your higher self. Yes? Higher self. Not to the ego mind. The ego mind is that chatterbox in your head. It's going all the time. Anybody had that experience? Yeah. It goes and goes and goes and goes, you know, and it's entertaining. I watch it all the time and I'm going, this is better than television, which is very much like it. So this whole idea of the ego mind gets in the way of our silence that we want to get to, that we need to get to. When we experience that, oftentimes we experience it maybe in nature. You go out for a walk in nature and the mind begins to settle down and we begin to feel the essence of nature and we begin to feel it within ourselves and we have this kind of connection begin to develop. The connection that's always there. We find it when we sit on a mountaintop and we look out at the sunset, and the sunset is going down. Some part of us goes, the beauty of nature. It connects us. The power of, one of the great quantum physicists of our times once said, there must be God because the universe is so immaculately, beautifully structured. There must be something that has created it. And what that something is must be unbelievable. And unbelievable is what he really meant, because it's hard for us to believe that. Also, in Exodus, where it talks about light. Light is a really important, I don't want to call it a metaphor, because a metaphor would imply that it's not necessarily accurate. Light is very accurate, especially when you find in the traditional religions, they talk about light. They talk about the light of a million suns. They talk about the light within us. We talk about the songs that all have light within them. All are really important because light is very important. Light's the basics almost of physics. The speed of light, we can't go faster than because we don't know what happens. When you cross over, you see bright light. When you get to a certain place in the astral plane, you see what they call the city of 1,000 lotuses. And that place is so bright that it would make 100 million of our suns. And yet we see it with our other senses. Did you know you have other senses other than the physical senses that you have? Anybody know that? 1, 2, 3. What are those other senses? Should I tell you? Oh, I'll move right along. So how about intuition? How about the idea of who's listening to your thoughts that are chattering? That is actually a hearing in other senses, not in our physical world, not in our physical sense. What happens when you see an image in your mind, but actually you're not seeing it through your eyes, are you? Number 2. So we have senses which are physical, and we have senses which are in what are, we might call it the astral body or the etheric body. Those senses operate on those other planes. When you can develop those, and you can develop them in this experience, and you can experience that other side, because in the astral plane it's all here already. So the power of who you are isn't limited to this little mind that chatters all the time. The power of who you are is in the essence of who you are. When Ernest Holmes or Neville Goddard says, go into the silence, and from there everything becomes manifest. When we do our treatment work, we're doing our healing work, more so than when we're trying to manifest a car or money or a new relationship or whatever. Not that they're that different, but that our ego mind gets very involved in that kind of thing. Is that the power of silence is when we move into that silence, we move deeply into that silence with what we need. Remember that it says that God knows before you know. So I don't have to say to God, here's what I want. I want this and this and this and this and this. You don't, because what's already in your heart that you need is already known. Therefore, what we need to do is open ourselves up to receive it. How do you do that? When you move into the silence, you become one with all. When you're one with all, then whatever needs to take place in order for that to take place, you've released it to come forward. Does that make sense? That's like saying there's only one power in the universe, and that's God. And God, which is consciousness, I'm a part of. Therefore, if I'm a part of this, then what I say, feel, hear, taste, touch within me that touches the very essence of who I am will create. That's why we are in the essence of God, because we are creators. What we don't realize is that we are creators, and we're creating from that unconscious mind where we've got all the likes and dislikes, where we've got all the belief systems that we've built up all of our life, where we've got all the filters as to what we can see and what we can know. And pretty soon, we're caught in this little tiny circle. And we don't even realize anymore. It's kind of like the story of all the crabs that are in the bucket, and one of them's trying to crawl out and the others are grabbing a hold and pulling it back. It's like normalcy doesn't like anything but being normal. Yes? Normal is not natural. Normal is not natural. Normal is great for crowds. Normal is great for managing systems. Natural is who you are. The essence of who you are is creative. Creation itself comes as a result of your own mind. Therefore, if you want something different in your life, then you have to look at what's going on inside of you. What are those beliefs? What are the challenges and obstacles to that becoming true? Because once we can surpass that by knowing it, then we can move to the silence, and from the heart, it creates. Somebody, last time I talked about the heart, I said the heart is actually the center of beingness. The heart is the center of beingness. We now have enough science that proves this fact. Not only that, it proves that the heart actually thinks. But it doesn't think in the way the ego mind thinks. The ego mind is, thoughts are generated out of this energy within us, and depending upon what energy level is higher at that time, this subject matter or that subject matter, those thoughts pop into being. Thoughts from the heart are actually energies in the heart that are transmitted from the heart into the brain. We now know both the stomach and the heart have cell structures similar to the brain structure. The ganglia of the brain similarly connected to the heart, similarly connected into the stomach. You have a gut instinct, there's a reason for that. Because that part knows. And then this soul, what we call the soul, that place within us, right next to the heart, just to the right of the heart. That's that essence of who you are that's connected to everything in this universe. Actually, I take that back. It's connected to everything in a cosmos that includes this universe. There are hundreds of billions of universes, and there are even more on the astral plane. So, this is unlimited. Isn't it amazing that we limit ourselves to the point of such microscopic understandings of who we really are? And when we challenge it, the ego jumps up and says, wait. Remember what mom said? Remember what dad said? Remember what the teacher in school said? And that game goes on. And then we shut it all back down again. The crab pulls the crab down into the bucket. We are naturally creators. Your life is created continuously by you from your mind and your heart. The power is in understanding the process of creation. And that begins with the understanding of there's only one consciousness. And I am an aspect of that consciousness. And when I bring into my heart what I really truly want to create, it's already known in the mind of God, so to speak. It's known in consciousness. And when I release everything unlike it, it shows up. The best thing Ernest Holmes brought us, of the many, many things he brought us, was this rational process of what's called spiritual mind treatment. If this is true, then this must be true. And if this is true, then this must be true. And if that's true, then this must be true. Very classic rational thought process. And that was treatment. To move you into the beingness that you are and allow your mind to settle down by giving it this rational deductive reasoning, it settles down and you go, oh, I got it. Ernest used to say, I'll sit in the silence until I feel the click, which means the knowing. There it is. and boom, creation takes place. So light is important. Light is everything. In all the great meditative traditions, meditation is done based on light and sound. Light and sound. Even in the early Christian traditions, in the Essene traditions, in the Byzantine traditions, in the, you name it, the Radhaswami traditions, all these different traditions that have a deep, or the Sufis, the deep inner knowingness, light and sound are the guides. When you move to, in your meditation, you move from the deep silence within you, there's a point at which you hear a very distant sound at first. And if you follow with your awareness, again, awareness, you follow that, you come to a light. It's the same experience at some level of when you pass. When you die, you're following a sound, and then you follow the light, and you come to another place. This is the essence of all the great teachings. It's the essence of what the Bible is saying. The I am in me, which is the I am of God, is the I am of everybody. And when we come to that place, it's an astonishing revelation to the mind right out the gate before it even lapses and goes away. The moment you cross, it's like, holy cow. Use a different word, but it doesn't know what to do because it's infinite. And the interesting thing is, at that moment, ego mind goes away. And now you are connected to everything on the other side. Connected to the power and presence that has created everything. And you are it. So when we say, when we curse, as if we're cursing God, you're cursing yourself. When we say negative things about ourselves, that's blasphemy. Because you're God. You are God. The essence of who you are is God. When you really get that, that's the end of all of that negative process, that negative thinking that goes on. It begins to settle away, and that ego mind settles down. Silence is so powerful. The first thing I recommend when people are saying, well, I just can't meditate, I have to get up and move around. Get up, go outside, and walk in nature. The Zen tradition has what's called walking meditation. That walking meditation is just as powerful and moves you into that space, because when you start looking at all the beauty out there, you go, wow, that is amazing. You can move into that meditation much easier. So, Donald Hoffman is a cognitive scientist. I like, look him up on YouTube. I like his work. He's asking the question, do we experience the world as it really is, or as we need it? Or is it being experienced by what our mind is telling us to experience? Yeah. Powerful. Our mind is telling us what to experience from all of our beliefs and everything else. If you want something different in your life, and if you want a connection into that infinite, then start now. Start now and learn from the silence what you need to know. There's intellectual, the IQ kind of intelligence, and look at where it's got us. It's actually got us a lot. Cell phones, for crying out loud, which are actually not so good necessarily. It's got us nuclear, well, maybe not so. Yeah, so it's got us climate change. Okay, that one's still out. We don't know about that one yet. Other than the fact that the last thing I read was we had the hottest temperature on the planet this last summer, and we had the longest consistent high temperature on the planet. And we've had movements in the upper atmospheres that indicate we're going to have colder and colder and hotter temperatures. And climate change is not something new. We've had 4 extinction events on the planet that were the result of climate change. hundreds of millions of years ago. This will be the first climate change on the planet that has happened within a single generation. That is remarkable. And that kind of climate change, as we found from the extinction events, is very dramatic. Temperatures right now are projected by 2025 to increase to the point to where the average temperature in Phoenix will be 140. 140. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that all the fresh water that we have on the planet, we have 70% of the people on the planet who are in water crisis. They can't get the water that they need. All the fresh water that's in the snow and in the ice caps and everywhere else, that is melting. And where is it going? Into the oceans. Do you know that fresh water and the salt water are separate and they flow differently in the ocean? And as they begin to commingle, the heat begins to increase. The ocean temperatures are increasing. So climate change is another one of those intellectual things. But there's an answer. You're the answer. The power is inside of you, the heart. When you get to the heart and you start bringing to the heart what you want to see, meaning what the world is you want to create, one by one by one by one, the world is going to change. And if we don't do something to get in touch with our inner self, the amount of suffering that we have to go through will increase. It increases until we get it. I remember that from childhood. Boy, did I get in a lot of trouble. And I suffered for it until I learned. So take a deep breath. I want us to take 1 minute and move to the silence. Just close your eyes so you're not distracted by what's around you. Just feel what's going on inside of you as you breathe. Take a deep breath. Breathe deeply inside and follow that breath in. Just let any thoughts drift through like clouds. Keep your attention and awareness on your breathing. Taking nice, deep breaths. And let's come back. So, let me end this way. You're the gift to the world, and you need to give it. You're the savior for the world. But like they say on an airplane, when the mask comes down, you got to save yourself first before you can save anybody else. Save yourself first. Find the silence, and the rest will take care of itself. Namaste.
Would the prosperity receivers please come forward? Thank you, Larry. Did you understand now how important you are? Can you love yourself more today and in 2023? Do you understand that consciousness creates everything? If not, go listen to this talk again. It's up online on Tuesday. Also, for the you that are interested in Neville Goddard, there is at least one book in the bookstore that Michelle brought me called The Power of Awareness. He's truly an amazing author. And today is an opportunity to give, because what we've learned is that as you give, it's returned to you. And I know some people actually wanted to do an end of the year giving, which is fine if you date your check December 30th. Is that right, Marcia? The 31st, December 31st. You could, if you want to get credit for last year, if you do a long form taxes. And if not, if you want to give a beginning, so you are in the consciousness of giving in the beginning of 2023. How does that sound? So give out and let it come back. So we'll see what happens this year. But whatever is your gift, give it with love. And I'm going to thank all the people that are automatic givers that do it just monthly automatically, because I know that as we give, it is returned. And I bless each person here. As you give, I bless it, knowing it's pressed down, multiplied, and running over. And so it is. And now for our fabulous Tim Sullivan and the guys, the Blue Bayous.
Is my bayou still going to be blue with climate change? All right, so I told Jerry, I said, let's, if you're not busy on January 1st, come in and hang out at CSL and play the banjo. And he said, but I'm a guitar player. And I said, let's just, he said, what's the theme? And I said, fun. So he goes, all right, Rocky Top. And if you still have your shoes on at the end of this song.
All right, you count it as fast as you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Well, we said I was born on a rocky top down them Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoke nor smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill. Once I had a gal on Rocky Top, half bear, other half cat. Wild as meat, but sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Once two strangers climbed old Rocky Top, looking for a moonshine still. Strangers ain't come down from a Rocky Top, reckon they never will. Corn won't grow at all on Rocky Top, ground's too rocky by far. That's why all the folks on a Rocky Top get their corn from a jar. Rocky Top will always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Well, I've had years of cramped up city life, trapped like a duck in a pen. All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple again. Rocky Top will always be home sweet home to me.
Is that a good way to start the new year? Just moving your feet. Yeah, thank you. We're going to move into prayer. Would our prayer team please come forward? As we move this room into a do you have a meditation music, Harold? Harold. Let's also acknowledge Harold for all he does and gives. Thank you, Harold. And I'm going to thank Joni Alsop for helping clean up the other night, and everybody else who was part of that incredible adventure that we call Celebration.
And let's take a moment to move into the silence, knowing that the desire that you have for this coming year, the power for good for this coming year, is already known in the mind of God. Let's move into that space, letting everything else go. Just allow your breath to be focused upon.
From this place of stillness, if there's anybody in your life that you would like to put into prayer that may have been on your mind and you want to remember their wholeness, let's just call their name out right now. Now call out your own name.
Larry.
Knowing that I am, that consciousness of oneness, knows exactly what is needed for each person, for the healing, for the wholeness to be revealed. In our friends' life, our family members, and in our own life. So right now, I know the truth of who you are. I know that power and presence of spirit that is your very life. I know that you're guided to greater good. I know that you are here to experience that power and presence of the divine as you each and every moment. Maybe there's somebody that you've held a grudge against. Now's the time to let it go. Now's the time to bless them to their highest and greatest good. Thanking them for being in your life so you can learn forgiveness. And now we release them. Knowing that your body and every cell in the body is whole, complete, and perfect right now. I call it forth. For I know that the word of Spirit is powerful. And I know that your life is powerful. It's no accident you are here today or online today, for that presence as your life is awakening to a new you, a new year, and a new you.
And in this place where we know the truth and hold the truth about everyone else, that in that space, all is well. There's nothing to be known, nothing to do, just be, and everything that needs to happen, everything that needs to be created will take place.
I accept this. I know it's so. I bless each one of us to our highest and greatest good. And as we say together, and so it is. God bless you. And now for our closing song by the Bayous.
Right.
All right, this is an old bluegrass gospel song that I dug up. I found a version with Ricky Skaggs and the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid. My Uncle Joe was a devout Catholic, and we'd be out in the country, and he would pack us in the car and take us all to church. This little tiny church in Williamsville, Missouri, there'd be like 11 people in the whole place. And so thank you, Uncle Joe. This is kind of for you, too.
Now they got about 3 people.
Yeah. And you're one of them.
And I'm one of them.
1, 2, 3. There's a little mountain church way back my memory, where friends and family gathered for the Lord, where an old-fashioned preacher taught the straight and narrow way, little change the congregation could afford. Dressed in all our Sunday best, in pews of solid oak, all sound of our voices filled the air. Our mama sounded like an angel in those high soprano notes. When the roll call is made, I will be there. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house where I first heard the word I based my life upon. In our all-day Sunday singing and dinner on the ground, many were a soul that were revived, while the brothers and the sisters who've gone on to glory land slept in peace in the maple grove nearby. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house where I first heard the word I based my life upon. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house where I first heard the word I based my life upon. Looking back, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone, 'cause it was there in that little mountain church house where I first heard the word I based my life upon, where I first heard the word I based my life upon.
You guys are fabulous. Thank you. I can't wait to hear you again this year. You will be back, right?
If they can get the car fixed, maybe.
I just want to let you know that you can go online and put in a prayer request if anything's going on in your life. You can also donate online. And I just want to acknowledge also and bless Pope Benedict on his journey as he left this plane, and one of my favorite people, Barbara Walters. We just bid her adieu and thank both of them for everything that they've given us, and everybody that's passed away in 2022. I bless them on their journey. So right now we have some announcements, I believe. And
good afternoon. My name is Tom. Happy New Year. Cool. The first announcement I want to make isn't even on the list here. I don't know if you guys know about it, but there's a Bluegrass Festival next week down at the Holiday Inn down by Six Flags in Eureka. So I plan to be there. It's, like that music. Cool stuff. Okay, happy birthday, Reverend Larry. He's turning 21 this Saturday. I didn't know that was on there. The class, The Journey of the Soul, will start Thursday, January 12th, and run for 6 weeks until February 16th. Reverends Mary Jean and Larry are teaching this powerful mix of spiritual psychology and science of mind principles. The text is Magic of the Soul, and which I think will be in the bookstore pretty soon if it's not there already. Tuition is just $150. You can register in the bookstore so that we can have, make sure you register in there so that we can have the manuals ready for you for class. Heart Math, you want to know about that? You may have heard the term. Tuesday, January 17th and Tuesday, January 31st, 6 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. Marilyn Barrett will teach you how to take charge of your body when dealing with stress and stop the old automatic responses. The class is both sessions. In other words, it's not a repetition, but you got to do both. With homework in the interim. It's just $50. Sign up in the bookstore. Marilyn is an advanced teacher of heart math and is in St. Louis for just a limited time. A new women's group starting on Sunday, January 15th at 12:45 right after lunch. Bring ideas and a willingness to connect. Reverend Larry will have a homeopathy workshop Sunday, January 22nd from 12:45 to 3 p.m. Come and learn about how homeopathy can heal and learn to build your own homeopathic first aid kit. It's all just $20. Sign up. Where else could it be but in the bookstore? Marionette Bracken will conduct her workshop opening to soulmates Saturday, January 28th from 10 a.m. to noon. This experience is all about connecting with your soulmates in your work, business, friendship, and romance lives. It's just $30. Sign up in the bookstore. Is Marionette here? Let's see her. Oh, she's out of town. Okay. Thought maybe she'd want to plug it. Okay. All right. Then the Live Your Power Expo is going to be at Plaza Frontenac Saturday, January 28th, same day, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are going to be vendors, speakers, and giveaways. Next week is our second Sunday of the month, so please bring some dishes to share for our potluck in Scott Hall after the service. We have a new phone number. It's been changed for a little while now, but it's at the top of the bulletin. If you've got the old number in your contacts, you might want to take a look at that and put the new one in. Anybody here for the first time? We have a gift for you. Nope. No hands going up. Cool. All right.
we have a closing affirmation. Let's say together our January affirmation. We can stand up and say it. Let's say it together. This one life is my life right now, and I celebrate it out loud. And so it is. Have a great week, and come into Scott Hall tomorrow.